Hello class, Mr. Young here with Chapter 19 called Opening the West. What are we talking about in this chapter? Well, we're sort of taking a step back from the Civil War, because it was the Civil War, before the Civil War, after the Civil War was called Reconstruction. Now we're taking a step back from that. It's only very briefly mentioned in this chapter at all. We're sort of looking at history from a non-Civil War perspective of what was happening with the West and a lot of people in terms of non-Civil War related. Lesson 1 is called Mining and Railroads in the West. It's very much a lesson on new gold rushes, silver rushes, things like the Comstock Lode, and then the Transcontinental Railroad. There's one big defining feature of Lesson 1. It's we learn about the Transcontinental Railroad. Lesson 2, Ranchers and Farmers. We talk about cowboys in this lesson and the Wild West. It's more or less our lesson on the Wild West. Lesson 2. Lesson 3, Native American Struggles. It's about a lot of Indian wars and the plight of the Native Americans. We go through a lot of different Indian wars and famous Native American sort of heroes, guys like Geronimo and Sitting Bull and stuff like that. Lesson 3, Farmers, a new political force. Lesson 4 is interesting, something I didn't know too much about before I taught this course. Basically, after the Civil War, you have people start to farm in the Great Plains. They had not the technology before the Civil War, come out with a new seal plow and the technology to break through the sod. And so you end up having a lot more farmers, a lot more crops, and with so much supply of food, prices drop and the farmers get themselves in some economic troubles and woes. So they start to band together to form the National Grange and farming cooperatives, and they actually become a bit of a political force. We talk a little bit about populism in there too, which is a term that gets thrown around more often these days, so we'll learn about that. We'll pretty much get through all the content and then hit spring break. So for those of you that work ahead, it might behoove you to knock the test out before spring break. But if you work at pace, then we'll pretty much get through lesson 4, and then it'll be the break, and we'll come back and have a study day and do the test. I'm sure that'll work out fine too. So that's what we're looking like for this chapter. Go ahead and move on to the next page to take a look at the vocabulary, and I'll have a video there too, and then you can knock out the assignment. I'll see you on the next page.